If you've come across this video, stop everything you're doing and listen. This is no coincidence. There's a hidden code in your reality, a message the universe is trying to send you, and most people will never realize it. You know that shiver you feel for no reason, that number that follows you everywhere, or that feeling that you've lived this exact moment before. That's not your imagination. Those are glitches in the matrix, clues left behind by an ancient intelligence which the Egyptians called Thoth. And here's the secret I promise to reveal to you in this video. These signs aren't random, they follow a pattern, and that pattern is a map. A map that leads to a truth so powerful it has been hidden from humanity for millennia. The truth about who you really are, and about the power you have to break the cycle of repetition in your life. If you've ever felt like you were born for more than just paying bills and waiting for the weekend, this video is your confirmation. You're not crazy, you're waking up. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to show you will connect all the dots. And before we continue, if you've already seen one of these signs, comment below, I am awake. What is esoteric knowledge in one era will become exoteric in another. For humanity as a whole is but a great initiate slowly climbing the ladder of mystery, step by step. That feeling that there's a hidden message right under your nose is the first sign. If you're watching this video, you can be sure it wasn't a random click on your feed. You were guided here because your perception of reality is beginning to change. Your mind works differently. It's programmed to see connections and patterns that most people, immersed in their daily routines, simply can't see. This doesn't make you better or worse than anyone else, but it makes you aware. You're starting to wake up while others continue to sleep. Ancient Egyptian traditions had an explanation for this. They believed that Thoth, the scribe of the gods, the master of wisdom and time, recorded the destiny of each soul on his sacred papyri. For most, the path is linear and predictable. But for some souls, Thoth left a code, a series of clues hidden within the very fabric of reality. These clues are like breadcrumbs left in a dark forest, a subtle trail to guide the chosen ones back home, back to their true essence. Accepting that these signs are real puts you in a difficult position. Let's be honest, part of you has always felt like an outsider in this world. You look at the people around you, at their preoccupations with status, the latest gossip, the next holiday, and a silent question echoes in your mind. Is that all there is? You see people running on an endless treadmill, chasing a happiness that seems never to arrive, and you feel that this race makes no sense to you. This feeling of not belonging is not a flaw in you. It's the first real symptom of awakening. This is proof that your soul is no longer satisfied with the superficial reality that most people accept as the only truth. You tried to fit in, didn't you? You tried to be interested in the same conversations, follow the same ambitions, desire the same things. But each attempt seemed forced, as if you were wearing clothes that don't fit, tight and uncomfortable. This pain, this constant restlessness, is the call growing louder. It's an internal alarm that most people learn to silence with distractions, but you can't anymore. Ignoring that inner voice has become more painful than finally paying attention to it. Every day you spend pretending to be someone you're not, a little of your vital energy is drained. You've reached a point of no return. Imagine you're on the edge of a precipice. On one side is your normal life, safe and predictable, but empty. On the other side, there's a dense fog, the unknown, which simultaneously frightens and attracts you. You can no longer return to the comfort of the life you had before, because you've already seen too much. You have already felt the truth behind the illusion. Even if only for a brief moment you realized that the world they presented to you is a construct, a stage. Now, the choice is yours and no one else's. You can take a step back, try to forget what you saw, and spend the rest of your life wondering what was on the other side of the fog, living with the shadow of cowardice, or you can take a deep breath and leap into the unknown, trusting that the same force that guided you to the edge of the abyss will not let you fall. This leap is not an act of madness, it is an act of faith in your own perception. It is the decision to honor this uncomfortable truth that grows within you. Many people reach this same edge, look down, feel the chill in their stomach, and retreat. They choose the safety of the known prison instead of the freedom of the unknown. But something in you knows that this prison, however gilded it may seem, has become too small. Your soul demands more space, more truth, more life. The problem is that upon leaping, you won't find an easy, illuminated path. On the contrary, you'll fall directly into territory you've been taught your whole life to avoid. You'll be forced to confront the most terrifying part of your journey, an inevitable confrontation not with the world outside, but with the oldest and most powerful enemy that exists, the one that lives and has always lived within you. The enemy that lives within you. After taking that leap, you realize that the first thing you encounter in the darkness isn't an external monster, but something far more intimate. Everything you've learned about being a good person begins to crumble. Since childhood, society, your family, school, everyone taught you the same lesson. Be polite, don't show anger, swallow your tears, hide your envy, deny your most primal desires. You learn to create a socially acceptable mask, a smiling and helpful persona, to be loved and accepted by everyone. But where do you think all that repressed energy went? It didn't magically disappear. Every unexpressed frustration, every unspoken word, every impulse judged as bad was pushed into the basement of your consciousness. There, in the darkness of your unconscious, that energy accumulated, fermented, and became stronger, hungrier. That is your shadow, the sum of all the parts of you that were rejected. And now, after being locked away for so long, it's knocking on the basement door, demanding to be seen. This is the true test of the chosen ones, the most dangerous and crucial phase of the entire journey. It's not about fighting against the injustices of the world or against bad people. The real challenge is to turn inward and face the monster you yourself created and fed with your denial. Most people who get this far give up. They feel the first contact with this inner darkness and run back to the safety of illusion, preferring a superficial life to having to admit what they are capable of, because looking directly at your own capacity for cruelty, selfishness, manipulation, and destructiveness is the most humiliating and terrifying experience a human being can have. It's admitting that the evil you point out in the world also exists within you. It's shattering the idealized image you've built of yourself. However, here is the great secret that the guardians of ancient wisdom protected. Within that darkness, there is not only pain and shame, there also lies all your power. Buried alongside it, your raw strength, your indomitable passion, your boundless creativity, your courage to say no. All of this was deemed too dangerous and exiled to the shadows. You cannot become a complete and integrated human being by ignoring half of who you are. Trying to live only in the light is to live a weak, unbalanced, and false life. True strength does not come from being perfect, but from being whole. And being whole means embracing both your light and your darkness. Therefore, the question now is not whether or not you will open the door to your shadow, because by this point, it's already breaking the lock. The real question is, what will you do when it emerges from the basement and comes face to face with you? And what you discover about yourself in this confrontation may destroy you, or it may finally set you free. But this freedom comes at an immediate cost, a price you begin to pay the moment you stop lying to yourself. The moment you confront your shadow and stop lying to yourself, your eyes open in a way that can no longer be closed. And that's when you understand why most people unconsciously choose to remain ignorant, because the truth hurts. Awareness brings a weight. You begin to see the lies that sustain society as if they were transparent. Advertising promising you happiness in a product, politics promising you security in exchange for your freedom, relationships based on self-interest and not affection. Everything becomes clear and painfully obvious. This newfound clarity isolates you. Conversations that once seemed normal about the weather, about work, about other people's lives, now sound like unbearable noise, an empty distraction. Friends with whom you thought you had a deep connection suddenly seem to speak a completely different language. You try to explain what you're feeling, what you're seeing, but your words come out strangely, and the looks you receive are of pity or distrust. You become a stranger among your own people. This solitude is brutal, but it's not a mistake on your path. It's an essential tool. It's the desert of initiation, a concept that ancient mystery schools used to forge and initiate. Far from the noise and approval of the world, you are forced to find your own voice, to validate yourself. You stop seeking external permission to think what you think and feel what you feel, because there's simply no one out there who can give you that permission. You learn to be your own authority. In this process, you learn to be your own company and discover that silence is not empty, but full of answers. You learn to differentiate between loneliness, which is the pain of the absence of others, and solitude, which is the peace of being in your own presence. This is the true price of awareness. You exchange the comfort of belonging to the crowd for the sovereignty of being the master of your own soul. You cease to be a sheep in the flock and become the shepherd of yourself. And it is in this silence, in this self-sufficiency, that something incredible and unexpected happens. You stop feeling alone and begin to feel genuinely free, a freedom that doesn't depend on external circumstances but is born from within, and this freedom has a magnetic quality. It radiates from you. Without you saying a word, other people who are also walking through their own deserts begin to notice you, not for what you say, but for the peace you emanate. This newfound freedom, however, leads you to an even deeper question. You paid a high price. You faced your darkness, embraced solitude, lost the comfort of ignorance, and now standing in your own desert, gazing at the horizon, you ask yourself, why did I have to go through all this? What is the ultimate purpose behind this arduous and lonely journey? The mission nobody asked for. After traversing inner darkness and the desert of solitude, the question, why, becomes the only thing that matters. Why was I chosen for this journey? Why this sensitivity? Why this pain? Why this path so different from most? The answer, when it arrives, is both simple and the most challenging thing you've ever heard. Your great mission in this life is not to save the world, not to become famous, nor to accumulate wealth. Your mission is to stop lying to yourself on every level. Your task is to become so brutally honest about who you are, what you feel, and what you want, that your very presence becomes a silent act of rebellion. In a world built on masks, appearances, and convenient lies, living your authentic truth is the most radical attitude you can take. Most people live as an echo, repeating the beliefs of their parents, the expectations of society, and the fears of their culture. You have been called to be the original voice. Your purpose isn't revealed in some grand mystical plan descending from the heavens. It's revealed in the small choices you make every day. It's the choice to speak your truth at a family gathering, even if it causes discomfort. It's the choice to follow your intuition and change careers, even if logic and everyone around you tells you it's crazy. It's the choice to end a relationship that diminishes you, even if loneliness seems daunting. You are here to break a cycle. Think about the patterns of behavior that repeat themselves in your family. The fear of scarcity, the drama in relationships, the difficulty in expressing affection. These patterns are like computer programs that are passed down unconsciously from generation to generation. Your mission may simply be to become aware of one of these patterns and refuse to pass it on. It's an invisible, silent, and often thankless task, but it can be the most powerful contribution you will leave in the world. You are not here to find a purpose as if it were a lost object. You are here to become the purpose. When you align with your deepest truth, your actions, your words, and your energy begin to work in harmony. You stop fighting against the current of life. Purpose ceases to be a quest and becomes a natural expression of who you are. You don't make your purpose, you are your purpose, and when you start living this way, something new awakens. Your journey so far has been focused on clearing the ground, on removing the lies and illusions. Now that the ground is clear, you are ready to build. You are ready to access a tool that has always been there, but that was buried under the noise of your mind and the world. A tool that will allow you to see beyond the visible. The journey you've taken so far, clearing your mind and emotions, wasn't just a psychological exercise. It was, in fact, recalibrating your entire energy system, preparing your body and consciousness for the next level. Now you're beginning to access a tool that most people believe to be fiction or a gift for the few. Your intuition, but we're not talking about a simple, occasional hunch. We're talking about a form of vision, a sixth sense that becomes as real as your other five senses. It's the eye of Thoth opening. You begin to feel the energy of places. You enter a room and before anyone says a word, you know if the atmosphere is heavy or light. You talk to someone and while they smile and say everything is fine, you sense a dissonance, a sadness or anger that they are trying to hide. You know when someone is lying, not because you caught a contradiction in what was said, but because you felt the truth in the person's energy field. Your dreams also change. They cease to be just a chaotic jumble of random images and become clearer, more vivid. Often you wake up with a message, a solution to a problem your conscious mind couldn't solve, or a warning about a future situation. The world, for you, begins to split into two layers: physical reality, which everyone can see and touch, and energetic reality, a subtle layer of information that only you seem to perceive. This is undoubtedly a superpower. But like all power, it also comes with a burden and a great responsibility. You can no longer ignore the truth. You can no longer participate in false conversations or maintain relationships based on illusions. Your presence in itself becomes a mirror. Without you doing anything, the people around you begin to feel uncomfortable because your energetic clarity illuminates the truths they desperately try to hide from themselves. Some people will react to this with an inexplicable attraction. They will feel safe around you, seeking a clarity they don't even understand, while others, however, will feel anger or deep discomfort in your presence. They will accuse you of being arrogant or judgmental, when in reality, they are simply reacting to the shadow you are unintentionally reflecting back to them. Learning to navigate the world with this heightened vision is one of the final challenges of the initiate. It's the art of knowing when to speak and when to remain silent, when to act and when to simply observe. But this new perspective leads you to an even deeper understanding. You realize that if the world has an energetic layer, and if you can feel it, then perhaps it's possible to interact with it. And this perception puts you at the gateway to the greatest secret of all, a principle so powerful that it has been hidden from humanity for millennia. The secret of the Emerald Tablet. Now we arrive at the central point, the secret that ties together all the loose ends of your journey and connects everything you have experienced so far. The Emerald Tablet, an ancient and mysterious text attributed to Thoth himself, contains a principle that, when truly understood, changes the rules of the game of life. The phrase is simple: that which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below. This is not a philosophical enigma to be debated. It is a literal instruction manual on how reality works. This phrase means that your inner world, your thoughts, your beliefs, and especially your feelings, create your outer world. It's not that you attract what you want with positive thinking. That's a superficial and incomplete version of the truth. The reality is that you magnetically attract what you are, what you vibrate. The universe doesn't respond to your desires, it responds to your energetic frequency, to your state of being. Think about all the phases you've gone through, seeing the signs, facing your shadow, enduring loneliness, finding your purpose, awakening your intuition. Did you think they were random tests? No, it was a process of energetic purification. Life was forcing you to cleanse your vibrational field. Every fear you faced, every lie you abandoned, every truth you embraced was actually raising your frequency, like tuning a radio to a clearer station. Why is this so important? Because when you were filled with fear, anger, guilt, and doubt, your frequency was low and dense. And, like a magnet, you attracted people, situations, and events into your life that corresponded to that same vibration: chaos, conflict, betrayal, and scarcity. Your external life was merely a perfect mirror of your internal state. You were not a victim of circumstances, you were their unconscious creator. By doing the inner work of confronting your darkness and healing your wounds, you haven't become a better or holier person. You've become a cleaner, more powerful magnet. You've changed your fundamental energetic signature. And now the universe, which operates by impersonal and precise laws like gravity, has no choice but to deliver to you an external reality that perfectly matches this new inner vibration of yours. That's why, from now on, things will start to flow in a different way. Synchronicities will become more frequent and more obvious. You are no longer fighting to make things happen. You are commanding reality from your state of being. You have stopped asking and started allowing. But understanding this with the mind is only the beginning for this power to become real. The transformation needs to descend from the head and anchor in a much deeper place. Understanding the secret of the emerald tablet with your logical mind is one thing, but living that secret in your daily life is a completely different challenge. The ultimate transformation, the one that truly gives you the power to shape your reality, doesn't happen in the realm of thoughts, but in the center of your being, your heart. In ancient Egypt, the heart was not seen as the seat of emotions, but as the center of a person's intelligence, consciousness, and truth. In the final judgment, Egyptian mythology recounts that the heart of the deceased was weighed on a scale against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was heavy with regret, anger, guilt, and fear, it would be heavier than the feather, and the soul would be devoured. But if the heart was light, free from these dense emotions, the soul would attain eternal life. You are undergoing this same judgment, not after death, but here and now in life. The alchemy of the heart is the process of taking the heavy and dense emotions that still arise within you, and instead of repressing them or acting upon them, you learn to transform them into fuel. You use the fire of your own consciousness to purify them. Fear, when observed without judgment, transforms into presence and mindfulness. Anger, when consciously channeled, transforms into focused passion and the strength to establish healthy boundaries. Sadness transforms into compassion and empathy. You don't stop feeling. On the contrary, you learn to feel more deeply, but without identifying with the emotion. You become the alchemist who observes the transformation happening within your own chest. A heart that has gone through this process becomes your inner sun. It begins to generate a warm and stable energy that makes you immune to the chaos of the outside world. You may be in the middle of a storm, but inside there is an unshakable calm, a center of peace that nothing can disturb. This calmness is not passivity or indifference. It is concentrated power. It is from this state of heart coherence that your true capacity to create reality emerges. You no longer need to strive, fight, or manipulate. Your intentions, emitted from a light heart and a coherent energy field, manifest in the world with an ease and speed that previously seemed magical. You align yourself with the flow of creation. And when your heart is pure and your mind is clear, you are finally ready for the final stage of your initiation. You are ready to claim the most powerful tool of manifestation that exists, a power that the ancient masters knew very well, but which has been forgotten and trivialized by the modern world, the power of your own word. The power of the lost word. Ancient texts from various cultures, including the Egyptians, recount that the universe was created through sound, vibration, and words. This is the final stage of your initiation, the moment when you reclaim this creative power for yourself. You finally understand at a profound level that your words are not merely sounds that come out of your mouth. They are decrees. They are packets of energy and information that program the matrix of your reality at every instant. With a heart purified by emotional alchemy and a mind cleared by the vision of truth, your words gain a power they never had before. Gossip, constant complaining, destructive self-criticism, words spoken without thinking. All of this becomes a poison you can no longer tolerate, neither from yourself nor from others. You realize that every negative word you utter is like casting a spell against yourself, reinforcing the reality you claim not to want. Speaking becomes a sacred act, a conscious ritual. You learn the power of silence, not as the absence of sound, but as the fertile space from which truly potent words can emerge. You choose your words with the same care a surgeon chooses their scalpel, knowing that each one is engraving a symbol on the papyrus of existence. You stop describing your reality and begin to decree the reality you choose to live. This goes far beyond the superficial law of attraction that has become popular. It's not about repeating positive phrases while your heart is full of doubt. It's a deep understanding of the physics of consciousness. When your thoughts, the mind, your feelings, the heart, and your words, the action, are perfectly aligned on a single same frequency, you stop fighting against the current of life and become the current itself. The universe, which is a great field of resonance, begins to conspire in your favor in a way that borders on the unbelievable. The right people appear at the exact moment the opportunities you needed arise as if out of nowhere. Doors open even before you knock. You are no longer trying to guess what the next step on your path is. You are creating the path with every word you speak, with every step you take with intention. You become a conscious co-creator with the source of life, not because you are manipulating reality to bend to your whims, but because you have aligned yourself so perfectly with the flow of the universe that your desires and the desires of the universe have become one, and this mastery leads you to the conclusion of your journey, which, paradoxically, is a new beginning. The journey of the chosen one, contrary to what many believe, does not end at the top of a mountain in a state of enlightenment isolated from the rest of the world. The journey is only complete upon the return. You need to descend the mountain and return to the valley, to the marketplace, to everyday life, but you are no longer the same person who began the climb. You may have the same name, the same job, the same family, but your presence, your energy is completely different. You are the initiate who has returned. You don't return to show off, to prove you're right, or to convert anyone. You return because you understand the ultimate purpose of all transformation, to serve, not a service based on sacrifice or martyrdom, but a service that is a natural overflow of your being. Your inner cup is so full that it begins to overflow, and this overflowing energy nourishes everyone around you without you having to make any effort. You become a bridge between worlds. With your feet firmly planted on the ground, dealing with bills to pay and the challenges of daily life, but with your consciousness anchored in the infinite, you become living proof that another way of living is possible. Your mission is no longer something you seek. It's something you live with every breath. It expresses itself in the way you listen to someone with total presence, in the calm you emanate in the midst of a crisis, in the unwavering integrity of your actions. Your life becomes your message. You no longer need to preach or give lessons. People learn simply by being in your presence. You become a beacon, and your light, shining steadily and serenely, helps others who are still navigating their own dark nights to find their way. You don't give the answers, but your presence helps people find the answers within themselves. The cycle then is complete. The chosen one, the one who began the journey seeing signs and feeling like a stranger, after deciphering the code of their own soul, now becomes a sign for others.